How is FDC without the likes of Dr. Kizza Besigye and the rest who departed from Najjana Nkumbi?
And Dr. Kizza Besigye has not departed from FDC, at least officially. But as a party, we are growing stronger and stronger. We had a delegates conference which was very successful. We have new leadership. Currently the working committee and NEC, the two organs are really working on ensuring that we have party structures established. We are swearing in most of the leadership, the grassroots. So as a party, there is no big problem. And it's not true that Dr. Besigye has left the party, because essentially he's saying he's still FDC. He's not in leadership, and he has not been in leadership because he resigned as a person. For the rest of the other colleagues, like Elias Lukwago, Ssemujju Nganda, Honorable Mijuche, Kaija, they are also still in FDC, but they are in between. Najjana Nkumbi is still the party headquarters, duly recognized. Where they are housed in Katonga, I don't know whether...
What specific language would you call that when you say they are still in FDC, but they are in a different
they're in a different base. I don't know, maybe they call it actually they are in refugee somewhat. But as far as we are concerned, at least for us as a party, we have tried to reach out to them, to talk to them and ensure that they come home.
How often have you reached out to them?
Personally, I've talked to most of those colleagues, apart from maybe Elias Lukwago, but I've talked to Kaija, I've talked to Dr. Besigye even before, and there are even other elders who are talking to them to ensure that at least they reconsider their position and then come back to
talking to them. When you say personal, is it in a personal initiative? Not
in a personal initiative. I think the party authorized and gave permission to party leaders to reach out to the people involved, so that we really see how we can harmonize our different positions and reconcile.
That's why you say that they have not left FDC officially.
Yes.
When someone is leaving FDC, do they write?
No,
do they resign?
Of course they should have declared, but wherever they have gone for their meetings, which they call consultations, they have been waving the FDC flag. They have been talking about FDC as their party, except that they claim to be leaders in FDC, which is not true. But at least in terms of membership, they have not denied that they are not members of FDC. The members of parliament, still they again under FDC. I designated recently members on the different standing committees, and they are FDCs. On 17th this month, I'm designating members of the sectoral committees, and they are FDC.
And they are inclusive?
Yes. Dr. Kamara, Naboth, Honorable Ssemujju is the shadow. I'm designating him in finance. Honorable Mijuche is shadow. In infrastructure, I'm designating him in infrastructure as the party whip of FDC. So they are all not denying they are still FDC.
So, Honorable, you see, we want to go slowly because the public needs to really understand. It looks like it is a dilemma where no one has the right answers to. Because when you say they are waving flags of FDC, they are members of FDC, who benefits? Is it Najjana Nkumbi? Because these people...
Yeah, but whatever they are doing has disciplinary issues. Because the FDC had a delegates conference and you had leadership. Now they are challenging the leadership internally, which they should have done legitimately by bringing their accomplice at the appropriate place, which is Najjana Nkumbi, through the appropriate organs. We have organs, we have a disciplinary committee, we have tribunals, so they have not really addressed their issues and complaints through a tribunal. But instead they are inciting other members with different allegations. So all those are issues which we may have to handle. But at a personal level, I'm not talking about as a party, but at a personal level, I don't believe in witch hunting those people. They are misled, they are misinformed, they may be bitter, They have personal and selfish interests. Some of them are maybe self-seekers. So these are issues we can internally talk about. That's why we left their so-called consultation process to go on. Would have engaged the Electoral Commission or the police to stop whatever is going on.
Okay.
But since these people are mobilizing for FDC, we thought maybe it's not necessary. It becomes a problem where now they are challenging the leadership and claiming that they are the legitimate leaders, where they are using the party tools and instruments as if they are the ones in charge. That's where you have really a big disciplinary issue. And we have given it time at the working committee. I don't know now, it has actually lapsed to see whether this matter can be brought before the disciplinary committee. But again, that is not necessary. I think we really have to sit down with the people involved to see that, to ensure that we really talk to them. However, I understand they want to form a party. And even personally, I have no problem with that.
Don't you
it's their constitutional right anyway.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to ask now. Don't you see their plans have advanced?
Yes.
When you say you're giving them time, you want to sit with them and see, but they have continued.
Yeah, I understand they are collecting signatures, but it's also not so easy. But if they want to form a party, I think that is even dangerous for them. It's bad for our party, it's counterproductive. We will not let it to see again another problem like we had in Anti. We lost good leaders and we also lost members of parliament as a result. So we don't want here to have again another loss arising out of petty quarrels. But it's their constitutional right to form a party. I would definitely have no problem about it. So we may have different parties and we have unity and diversity than having issues. The only problem really, what are they really preaching? What is the problem? There's no ideological difference at all. Because the complaints raised about individuals being compromised, one or two, cannot really be justification for forming a party, unless there are issues. I believe they're not telling us the truth, exactly what is behind their intentions of forming a different party when you have no ideological issues involved.
There's a section of the public who have said that even the Najana Kumbi camp is not saying the truth, and neither of the two factions is saying the truth. What is the problem? Because the problem has been raised that one or two people were compromised by the NRM and President Museveni. Can that lead to destroying a party built over 20 years, a party with over 3 million members? I think that's no justification. It is not. Unless you have a divergent, real divergent, big and ideological issue. I don't think that's it could be something different. If they want to have control of the party for their personal issues, which is really very common with our parties here, that's a different matter. But they should not hoodwink the public by saying there's a big problem that justifies them to form a party. In fact, when they went to Kasese, they said, we are seeing no reason for you to form a party. Go back and reconcile. And now what is happening, the people they are now meeting, they're not even members. Others are volunteers, others are just people coming to get transport refund, enjoying meals and music. So, in fact, I wanted to ask you, currently, when you look at the volunteers and supporters of FDC, which position outgrows the other?
Actually, when you look at what's going on in their consultations, most of those people we don't know as leaders. They are consulting the same members. Membership, you must have a membership card, or at least you must show some bit of enthusiasm as a member. Those people appearing in the different tents wherever they go to meet what they call members are not known by the party. The other day I understand border cyclists were paid to lead the entourage, but that becomes a campaign issue. I don't know whether they are campaigning or they are mobilizing or they are consulting. So whatever decision that is made in those meetings cannot bind the party. It cannot. Because if you say in Imbale, for example, the people said we should form another party. But who are these people? Are they registered members? Are they volunteers? Are they mobilizers? So who are they?
Because I also wanted to ask Honorable Yusuf Nsibambi, if FDC, because they are consulting as FDC per se.
Yes.
So it is FDC consulting to form another party.
Another party. which is irregular, illegal, and not really legitimate. Because you cannot go to consult your members to destroy your party. In fact, that's why we have a problem. And the working committee had recommended to NEC that these people should be taken to the disciplinary committee, but maybe that will not solve the problem. For me, I have no problem. Let them consult, as they call it. If the decision is from another party, that is a constitutional right, though it's unfortunate. I wouldn't really wish that to happen. We are continuing with engagement to ensure that at least we dialogue and we get a lasting solution which brings these people back. Unfortunately, they will come back as ordinary members because the delegates conference filled in all the different positions. So maybe they'll have to wait for another 4 years, which is not a very big problem. And we see the way forward.
In regards to determining the exact instruments of power, how should a layman understand that Najja Nkumbi has the right to own FDC?
Yeah, that is obvious. They tried to field a candidate in Dokolo, and the Electoral Commission requested for a letter from the Secretary General Nandala Mafabi. So when it comes to legitimacy and legality, the registered office or headquarters is Najja Nkumbi. The registered party officials, the party president is Patrick Amoriat. The Secretary General is Nandala Mafabi. The Treasurer is Honorable Kanya. So the different offices have been filled, and the Electoral Commission has a register of the different offices. So these other people masquerading or claiming to be members are not known anywhere. Yeah, even they went try to access the bank account, and the bank sought for a letter from the Secretary General. So as we talk now, that is not an issue.
So there's a time they wrote to the banks and stopping any other services.
All the accounts are really operation. So yeah, they're operation. The only thing they can claim is just to move waving around the party flag and maybe having party stamps which are not legitimate stamps, and that is it.
And waving the flag, you say it is two-way traffic benefiting the FDC.
For us is mobilization. We don't have any problem with it.
Blessing in this sense.
And personally, as an individual, I have no problem for them to claim that they are members of FDC because they are still. My only quarrel is where they claim to be party leaders.
I was talking to some of them and they said they...
we don't have really, it is almost irreconcilable because all the engagements we have had with them, you find that they are really bent not to come back to Najja Nkumbi unless the party president and the Secretary General resign. And it's inconceivable to expect Patrick Moria to resign and or the Secretary General. I don't think they will resign. So it's almost irreconcilable.
What is the strength currently of FDC in the grassroots?
Yeah, it's a strong party, but I think like all other parties, we are having problems of mobilization of resources. The party members believe that the party should give them money instead of them subscribing for membership. The only money coming in from government, iPod,
political parties
is not sufficient to run really and mobilize the party and establish structures and pay for offices. So all parties are really weak. We also have a big problem of the NRM. They use national resources to break our structures, to buy our strong supporters and members. So generally speaking, it's not a problem of FDC, it's a problem of all parties. When you want to generate and get money from the outside institutions we have been working with and partners, they also feel very uncomfortable to release money when you are not united as a force. So I think it's a big problem. The party is weak generally, not because of these quarrels, but I think we will have an issue to do with resource mobilization and even confidence of the people. Most people have lost trust because you don't see fighting at the level of leadership. They also get disgruntled. So it's really not so strong, but I think we are trying to address that.
Because the clock is ticking to 2026.
Yeah, but 2026 is not the solution. I think the solution of changing this country does not lie in elections. You may not have really much to achieve We participate in elections for purposes of mobilization, but not changing government. It's very difficult to change government when the Electoral Commission is being controlled by the same people you want to change. You may not change government when the national coffers, the resources are all deployed against you. We wanted the reforms to do with non-involvement of the military and security forces in elections. Up to now, Parliament has not tabled those reforms. In the case of Amama Mbabazi, the Supreme Court actually ordered and directed that you should have the following reform. Up to now, nothing has been achieved. So I think personally, I'm not looking at 2026 as a solution. I'm only concerned that we are supposed to be united and see how we can change or force change as opposition, which is not forthcoming. All these other parties are having issues. You find DP has issues, UPC has issues, FDC had issues and is still having issues. Now in NUP you again find you have issues. Maybe parties like CP and JEMA, even JEMA has now. So now I think 2026 is not really a year I'm looking at for change. I'm looking for change now. How can we achieve it is to ensure that at least we unite as forces of change, generally as opposition, and not just look at 2026.
But this has failed for years now.
Yeah, because it's deliberate. It's deliberate and orchestrated by the state. You know, fighting a dictatorship is not so easy. It's not just taking a cup of tea. Yeah, it's really hard situation, and people must be determined. Unfortunately, the way I see it, even opposition, we are playing double dutch. You can never tell whether this is true opposition or government. So I think it's a process really. It will take time, but it's a process, but definitely change will come.
Why don't you try to identify at least one genuine like-minded organization where you can collaborate?
No, you can never tell. You can never tell. You may assume that this one is genuine when it's not. I'm telling you, when you go closer to politicians, like now in Parliament, you shudder what is going on. But you see, change will not be delivered by politicians, will be delivered by the people, and it definitely come.
What is your take on the politics of cultism, where people have, away from cultism, but identity, looking at the previous, the ongoing consultations, we've seen it is Dr. Besigye being fronted, doing consultations. And so
I think for me, I have no problem with that. I've worked with Dr. Besigye as a person. He's genuine, he's focused. His only problem that this time around, he missed the point. I think he does not believe in elective politics, like we all don't believe in it. But you need a vehicle to pass on the message and communicate. So he does not believe in parties. And that becomes now the individual carrying the mantle. And I don't think it should really be him as an individual to carry the mantle. It must be collective action. I think that's where I really have a divergence. Otherwise, I would have no problem for individuals or an individual carrying the message to the people under sort of an umbrella or a vehicle. Yeah, it must be collective, not an individual. Otherwise, it's an individual, you are not immortal. You may pass on, anything can happen, and then the entire revolution or liberation struggle is lost. Yes.
In the English language, there are those people who say that silence means yes. And when FDC Najana Nkumbi is silent and everything is going on, the people will think that
we're not silent. We're working, but you don't want prayer to pray to the gallery or to over-incite people. You know, it's also not right for you to go out and do the petty fighting. Really, people get confused. Now we try to mobilize, we try to engage behind the curtain, but I think we are not silent.
Okay. Finally, Honorable Yusuf, what could be the pressing issues disturbing the political environment in Uganda?
It's only one. President Museveni, and not even his party, because the NRM does not exist. It is President Museveni. At his age, as he said, at 80, he should really sit down and bend a little bit backwards, try to really say for 40 years have failed to really deliver, what can be done? You should really call a national dialogue of all stakeholders so that we sit and say, where did we go wrong as a country? He has actually lost it, and we have also lost it as a country. The only challenge is for him to sit down and say, I've done whatever I've been doing with a mistaken belief that I will deliver. I've failed to deliver. Can you please sit down and see what we can do? Otherwise, there's nothing you can talk about now in this kind of environment. There are no economic solutions to deliver or achieve under the NRM. There are no security issues to settle under the NRM. Issues of equity. We are now at the budget committee, but you see actually there's no budget talk about. You're talking about individual interests or of one person called the president. So I think that's the only issue which has to be addressed. When we talk about it, they say, the opposition talk about Museveni. But there's no problem in this country. The only problem lies with President Museveni to calm down and if he's patriotic, as he's saying, to have a national dialogue of all stakeholders, the religious leaders, the elders, politicians. You can have a selective whatever method of ensuring that people sit for a week, whether in Mwea or Maction Falls or in Kampala, and then say, where did we go wrong? We have experts who can advise in the different sectors. Otherwise, this country is gone. It's ruined. It's completely gone.
Honorable, when you talk of national dialogue, there are organizations like IPOD, there are organizations like the Interreligious Council, I
which
think
have been failed by the president and then NRM. When you go to IPOD, they actually don't even attend. They are underfunded. IPOD came up with not a manifesto, IPOD compact, with very good recommendations on electoral reforms and other reforms. Nothing has ever been considered at all. So it is actually a club for people to sit and take a cup of tea and get some bit of contributions to pay for office rent. So it's actually been reduced to that. And when you talk about Interreligious Council, I think that's really a gone case. All the religious leaders are just given pajeros and they clap, and that is it. So actually the Interreligious Council is another branch of the NRM mobilization organ.
Okay. So finally, how are issues of accountability in FDC currently away from when
I
these
think
people departed?
what do we have even to account? You know, the kind of money we are getting from IPOD cannot even organize a wedding. So actually this is just exciting. Unless you're talking about, if you're talking about issues of compromise, that's a different matter.
Okay.
Because I cannot vouchchef, but there was an investigation and which said it was far-fetched. But for the money coming in from IPOD, we will not even organize an ordinary wedding. So if you're talking about accountability, it's the individuals volunteering their personal resources to run the parties. So we account, of course, as a matter of course, that you have to account to the Electoral Commission. But if FDC is getting 300 million per quarter, 300 million cannot organize even an introduction ceremony, even a prom party at an elite school in Kampala. No.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nsibambi, for
You're most
speaking
welcome.
to
So that maybe they are compromised. Others just want power. Different equals. They just want to be in control. But they also are genuine. I believe we have many people in the opposition who are actually genuine, must be commended.
But among the electors, the politicians, and who is
with one person, don't even talk about the state, because the state does not exist. President Museveni is in charge of each and every institution. The other day he called the Chief Justice and delegated the Chief Justice to go and appear as a representative of the state. That is unheard of. When it comes to Parliament, the other day the Speaker was saying, for me, I'll work for you. So when it comes to the executive, he changes cabinet as he wishes. He appoints people at his wish and whims. So basically, it is the president. The NRM does not exist. He's the one in charge of appointment of all official positions in the NRM. So we are at his mercy, and wins.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nsibambi.
You are welcome.